All right, back again with another ridiculous view meltdown. Here we go. This time they're going to cry about Trump winning and his inauguration speech. Let's see if they can make any sense at all.
Yesterday, did something happen? Did something happen yesterday?
Yes, it was Martin Luther King Day.
Yes. That's a good one. Well, in addition to Martin Luther King Day, a certain person, Donald Trump, was sworn back into the White House as the 47th president. Now, high-profile Democrats were in attendance along with Republican officials who all sat behind big tech oligarchs with the best seats in the House. Yeah. Trump gave a preview of what we're in for the next 4 years. Take a look.
My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day.
Sounds good.
We will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices.
I'm confused. Are they... Wait, didn't she say... This is like a commercial for Trump. What's going on?
We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. It will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want.
Oh my God, the View's going to hate that.
So if he's sending all the criminals away, where is he going? And what better way to unify the country than by ripping families apart and punishing anyone who doesn't fall in line? I watched the whole thing because I have a certain masochistic streak in me.
You do.
What about the rest of you?
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be because you get paid to comment on political issues?
I watched it, just the speech part. A lot of the revelry, it was hard because this is not someone I voted for, so I did not feel like sitting around and watching it. But the speech itself, I remember when it was done, my first reaction was, you know, what is this country he speaks of? Because I immediately couldn't reconcile the way I see the country and the people and how it is right now and where he saw it. It was, he didn't say carnage, but he said carnage pretty much in everything else. Do you remember the reference from his first?
He didn't kill a man, but he killed a man. You know what I mean?
Inauguration when he said carnage. I just kind of felt this dark feeling. And then he had this kind of martyr-like, you guys are downtrodden and almost irreparable. You can't save this place, but I can. And like, it had this like godlike complex without any Jesus qualities. Like it was kind of like a juxtaposition. But I was really disappointed, not surprised, just to be clear, but disappointed that there wasn't one kind thing to say about the outgoing administration. Because even...
Au contraire, he was merciless to the outgoing.
Does anybody remember if the Biden administration said anything good about Trump's administration during his inauguration?
That's my point. That's my point. Even if you are, even if you find it really hard, there could have been. They spent the morning together. They had a welcome tea. The President Biden and Vice President Harris did everything we all criticized Donald Trump throughout the door. They did all the traditions of handing off the baton. And he couldn't even muster up one small thing to say thank you for kindly welcoming us back or something. It just it was a kind of a gut punch of sorts.
Well, that's not who he is, right? I mean, he's not a statesman. But the one thing that I did think about was the hypocrisy of having a man be inaugurated to be president on the same day as we commemorate MLK. And that same man saying that he was going to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
The irony of it.
The irony of it, because Martin Luther King not only wanted racial equality, he wanted economic equality. And that is something that people tend to miss. And I want to remind people.
Okay, economic equality means economic equality, then it has nothing to do with race. Has nothing to do with race. And if you think it does, then you're the racist. There's poor white people, there's poor black people. Economic equality means helping out the poor, regardless of what race they are.
People that he said that Black Americans deserved reparations for the injustices they faced. He argued that reparations were a form of justice, in fact, not charity. And he said, quote, "It's all right to tell a man to lift himself by his own bootstraps, but it is cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps."
Yeah.
So in her mind, no Black Americans have boots, and every single white American has 10 pair?
That this country would be a meritocracy. You're talking about a man who didn't become the president of the United States because of merit. He hasn't had he had no political experience whatsoever. He had no business experience. He was given everything that he has. He is a legacy hire. He is, if anything, a DEI hire, a didn't earn it hire.
Okay, so all of these children have women. Actually, no, that's right. So all of these women have children, and they're all wealthy. I want to see where their children are at when they're in their 30s and 40s. This idea that because you're born into wealth, that you're going to automatically be successful or become president of the United States. Hello. Trump's not the first person to be born into a millionaire family. That somehow all of the success you have in life is because you were born that way. Okay, so what about all of the rich people whose children end up becoming drug addicts and losers? I don't know, Hunter Biden, for instance.
I always watched the inauguration. I was covering it for CNN as well, but I was watching and thinking it's time to retire the phrase normalizing Donald Trump. Donald Trump is normalized, whether you like it or not. 75 million people voted for him. He is now as much a part of American history as George Bush, Barack Obama, and any other two-term president. And now he came back to D.C. like a conquering king. He had the biggest titans of industry there. He had celebrities. He had fashion designers. He had Democrats and every former president there. And I think that it's a moment to take note of why he won and the reasons that he did, but also Democrats are not a footnote in this. They had 4 years to beat him. They had the chance to make a case against him. 4 years ago, they had the White House, the House, the Senate, and Silicon Valley. Now they have none of those above. I'm going to thank him when he does things that are good, like the hostage deal. I commend him. I am grateful for that. And I'm going to call it out when he does things that are reckless and dangerous.
Getting
the Israeli hostages and American hostages.
She's going to say
and I'm
it
going to call it out when he does things that are...
You're talking about Trump now?
Yes, that are...
I
and
thought
Biden was
it
part
was
of it.
Biden who's been negotiating.
Both worked together.
Called it.
Well, and finally,
She can't give Trump credit for anything.
Out when he does something that I think is dangerous and reckless, like we're going to get to pardoning dangerous January 6th. Yeah.
And when I was reading the speeches, I was coming back. First of all, I'm going to pray for America. I'm also going to say, you know, he calls himself a peacemaker.
Peace be with you. And also with you.
He wants to invade Panama, people. Panama is our ally. They haven't done a damn thing. He's our longest, strongest ally in that region. Everything he is saying about the Chinese running the Panama Canal is a lie. It is run by the Panama Canal Authority.
Who pays Chinese contractors to run the place?
Liar in chief. That brought back that he's not going to be a peacemaker. I mean, this guy is already in verbal war with Canada, Greenland, Denmark. By the way, they want to take over Canada and Greenland. He can't even stand in 20-degree weather.
I don't know that I think he's going to invade the Panama Canal. When there's an order to DOD and we've got Marines headed there, let's call it out. But often
who's
these things,
going to order a DOD?
these
Peter
things are
Hegseth?
just become
These women are
distractions
crazy.
from things that deserve more.
There's no generals to push back.
Okay, Sonny.
That's one of the problems. There are no guardrails on Trump right now.
No.
There is nobody in that cabinet. There's no John Kelly. There's no General Mattis. There is nobody to push back on him when he calls and he says something absolutely insane. If Democrats want to get some guardrail, get out of your funk, stand up, protest, call out the abuses of power, and get ready to at least retake one house of Congress in the next 2 years.
And stop watching The View because it's making you dumber. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.